Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be reviewing Horror House by Carl John Lee, which is a extreme horror novella. So Horror House is just a shortened down version of the titles of the book's title. Obviously, because of this word, I don't really want to say that on YouTube because I don't want to get into trouble. So for the purposes of this video, I will be referring to this novel as Horror House. So I have read a couple of, or a few anyway, of books by Carl John Lee, and he's quickly becoming a favourite author of mine. In fact, I enjoy reading the guy's work so much. I have got all of his work currently to date, excluding a Christmas anthology that I didn't even know that he featured in. So I would have to rectify that and buy that and read it for next Christmas, I guess. So because this is an extreme horror novella, it does have a list of trigger warnings that are at the front. Now I will show these because I don't want to say these because I don't want to get into trouble. So I will just show you the trigger warnings. So there we go. So before I get into this video, guys, this is going to be a spoiler-free video, and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this book. So this is about a group of friends that I think were in either high school or college together, and they haven't seen each other for about 20 years, and they decide to meet up at a cabin that one of them has kind of bought or rented or whatever for the supposed weekend, and meet up and just do, talk about old times and just to, see each other again, I guess. So at the start of it, we are introduced to a character called Cal, who picks up a hitchhiker, a female hitchhiker, and it's raining, and she starts to undress herself in the car. And Cole actually obviously enjoys this. He's constantly looking at her, and he's thinking about, okay, this is where it's going to go, and he's excited about this interaction with this young lady. But at the same time, he's thinking, I know her from somewhere, but I'm not sure where. But this interaction quickly draws to a close when Carl crashes his car, and this mysterious young lady is more than what she appears to be. Her face is all messed up, and she's really horrific, and she tells Carl, look, I know what you did to me, and she's just there to basically punish him. So the very next chapter, we are introduced to our main group of individuals, which are Lee, his girlfriend's Anya, and a friend of his called Peter. Now, Lee and Anya are our main couple. Lee is a very sweet individual. He takes care of his girlfriend, and he doesn't really want to go to this retreat with his friends that he hasn't even spoken to for 20 years. And he's just going there because his girlfriend has pretty much forced him to go, thinking, okay, it'll be fun just to go there, put up with a few of their nonsense or whatever, and to, just to get it over and done with, so you don't have to think about them ever again, and we can all move on. Peter is a very he's one of these individuals which stays the same from high school to when he's a full-grown adult. He's very immature. He likes listening to heavy metal music, and of course he thinks about sexual intercourse a lot. And they are going to meet up with a guy called Garrett and his girlfriend, who I think is called, Lucy. Garrett was, back in the day of college or high school, a jock who had a bit of an accident. He had everything going for him in high school or college. He had everything going for him. He was popular. He was athletic. He had his whole life out in front of him. But when the accident happened, that all put a stop to that, and he's kind of a deadbeat. He's um, lounging around all the time, and he doesn't really have anything to do, and he's always blaming how life turned out for him um, on his girlfriend Lucy, who back in the day was a cheerleader, and that's how they met. And Lucy's the breadwinner of that couple. She's always going out for work and getting money, and um, she knows that Garrett is trying to put on a show to prove to his friends that he's still the popular guy and with the attractive girlfriends, when in reality it couldn't really be further from the truth. So as these friends are meeting up to ultimately go to a cabin in the woods to do whatever, there is a mysterious woman who I mentioned at the start who is trying to interact with them and standing in the middle of the road trying to get their attention. And as the story progresses, we find out that all of our characters end up at this massive mansion in the middle of the woods after they had some trouble with a bridge that no longer existed, and they nearly ran over and went over this cliff and died. But after that, they are in the woods and they come across this mansion that's in the woods that doesn't look like it shouldn't be there. There's no road, there's no paths going to it. It's in the middle of nowhere, and I think Lee kind of thinks in his mind, saying, right, this house shouldn't be here. There's something wrong about this house and its existence, but I can't put my finger on why that is. But when they go into this house, they are greeted by a friendly elderly woman who is not really quite with it. And they say that they need to use her phone, which she doesn't have one. And they kind of take shelter in the house until the next day when they can go and get help. And there's other ladies in the house as well, young ladies who I believe are sisters. But this house isn't what it appears to be. I don't really want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but they do not like guys in this house, specifically guys that have wronged women and that have done terrible things to women, and they get their revenge on that in bloody and horrific ways. And one by one, these friends are hunted down by these women for acts that they have done on this individual, this girl that's in the middle of the road. And we find out why she's doing this. We find out what happened to her and why she's doing this, and what the friends did to her in the past. And we also discover some other hidden secrets, like Peter has a unhealthy relationship with his older sister who he has a crush on. That's horrible. And you may be thinking, well, Lucy, and Anya, they are probably immune to this because they are women, so how can anything bad happen to them in this house? But I must say that they aren't definitely excluded. They are on the radar of this individual, this elderly woman, and these other residents of this house. And slowly but surely they are picked off one by one in horrific ways and bloody and gory ways, and we are ultimately left with a few at the ends where they have to try to not just to survive, but also to confront about what they actually did to this girl, and to try to, I wouldn't say put that behind them, but try to confront that in some shape or form. So that's as far as I want to go with the story. I really like this book. I really like Carl's writing style as a whole. I read this a whole thing in pretty much one day, apart from the first chapter, which I read the previous night, but I read pretty much the whole thing in one day. It's a very easy to read story. The characters are really great. The gore and blood and violence is really, really disgusting. And he does mention things and topics that are extreme. This is, as I said, this is an extreme horror book, guys. So do not read this if you are easily triggered or easily offended. And but if you aren't put off by anything that I've just said, then I would definitely recommend this book, especially if you are new to Carl John Lee's writing style and new to his work. Then this is very short. It's about 100 pages long, so it's not going to take up too much of your time. There is a sequel to this, so I'm not sure if that's a direct sequel or whether it's a new story with new characters. I'll have to wait and see, and I can't wait to get to that one. I suppose if I had one dislike about this book, it would probably be that I would have liked it to be a bit more gory and bloody, but yeah, it wouldn't really have added anything to the story. It probably would have taken away from the characters and their character growth and character developments, which Carl does superbly. He's really, really great at writing characters. So what I'm going to rate this book, I'm going to rate it a 5 stars out of 5. Does it deserve it? Probably not, but I had a lot of fun reading this book as well as the other books I've read by this author, and I can't wait to read some other stuff that I've got by him. His stuff isn't going to win any awards or anything like that, but his stuff is a lot of fun, and that's what I look for in a book, and in a horror book especially. I remember that I read a book that I got from my Bonneville Book Club box that was advertised as being horror, but it was so bad, I was so bored reading it, and I'm thinking, right, I need to read something fun. I need to read something that I'm going to enjoy, something that is short, and this book was that book. And I mean, what a palate cleanser this was. This was a fantastic book for me to pick up, and a fantastic book to put me back in a horror mood. So let me know, have you read this book? What did you think about it? Have you read anything else by Carl John Lee before? Have you got any recommendations about what one I should read next? Or should I go straight on to Horror House 2? So guys, that's been my video today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And with all that out of the way, I'll see you on my next video.